Hi Virgo, here is a general look at your solar chart for half of January and all of February 2015. And for us all, there is a certain air of uncertainty, or just let's see how this works out, but not quite sure in January, and actually a lot in February as well. And for you, in January, there's a brighter, less inward vibration up till the 19th. So it may have passed that by now when you're watching this, but that is the area which emphasizes more leisure type activities, you know, doing things that you enjoy. It's an area that it emphasizes children and your own inner child, and just sort of kicking up your heels and being a bit irresponsible, really, which is healthy. It's definitely healthy, and in a good way, and doing activities that you find that are personally empowering. But this air of uncertainty, so yes, keeping lines of communication open and courteous, and you know, that always oils the wheels, but maybe within you not feeling completely decided, or maybe changing your mind about something, and that feeling is likely to go on from the 15th onwards in January. So there's a bit of indecision, a bit of, you don't have the clarity you want, but you know you need to do something about it. We do also have Mercury retrograde at the same time, and Mercury doesn't go direct until the 11th of February. So that can also mean that you're a little bit spooked by shadows, or you haven't got the information coming through that you'd like, and that can stress you out a bit. That can maybe irritate you. Maybe also it can work in various ways, but underlying things are coming up to the surface. Now, I wouldn't say that this was the best time to be launching into new projects or new schemes and plots and plans. I mean, making the plots and the plans, but maybe not actually launching into them. On the positive side, and this is after mid-January until almost the end, there is it's a good time to be there for another. It's a good time for healing practices, whether that's for yourself or for another. It's a good time for you to just put ego on one side and be more selfless, and even when you aren't in the mood, and just maybe, you know, once you get the filter of ego out of the way, seeing what needs to be done. And it might be a sacrifice for you, it might not be, but seeing what needs to be done and then just getting on with it and doing it. From the 19th, you are actually making yourself useful anyway, because the sun is coming into your own house, your own area of the zodiac. So this is the area of service. This is the area to get on with chores and niggly details. That's from the 19th. And to getting to grips maybe with health issues, your own or another's, applying skills, learning new skills, and keeping up to speed with maintenance and repairs. But definitely it's a time of keeping your eye on the ball at work, or with your own, you know, daily chores, and just ticking things off the list that maybe you know you've got to get on with. So just getting organized with those and getting things more how you want them to be. So yes, this is a time to be in that healing mode, or in that practical mode, which is helping others and supporting others, but also do not forget to be especially nice to yourself and support and help yourself as well. And other positive uses of this energy is psychic development, healing training, or you know, using it, working with dreams, and looking after your own energy, because it might be just a little bit lower. Imaginative or artistic involvement is a really good one for this particular set of aspects. And that's really Mars. If you'd like to know, it's Mars with Neptune, and Mars with Neptune isn't very good in the material world. Even though I'm calling upon you to be practical, maybe you've got to be, maybe you've got to aim to be, and probably are already, but more sensitive in your practical decisions, lighter with your touch, more etheric with applying your knowledge, you know, looking at the wholeness of it all and sensing and feeling in your body rather than simply observing and targeting and you know, obviously with things like car repairs or getting a haircut or you know, looking after somebody else, we got to have that kind of mix of practicality with seeing it from this less obvious, more subtle side. So allowing that side of you to come up, because Neptune is really kind of not of this world, you know, but Mars very much is. So if you can do that stereo thing of working with your analysis and your logic at the same time as working with your sensitivity and your higher knowing, then you will be filling in the ticket for this Mars-Neptune conjunction really, really well. And also imagine using, you know, any circumstance where you can use your imagination or the artistic side, the side of you which likes to do crafts, being a creator there, it would be very good. But also the viewer, you know, just getting absorbed into somebody else's work, you know, and using maybe that as an example to yourself for your own work. And that'll give you a wonderful outlet. Yeah, the Mars-Neptune energy is a bit sort of like a slippery fish. But of course, Neptune is at the moment in your opposite sign, so it might mean that you are not quite able to pin down where somebody else is at, where they're coming from, what their condition is, or what their intentions are, or what really is motivating them. It might be like that. So just be careful. Like I say, this isn't a time to be launching, you know, really making definite decisions about things and launching into things in a material sense in the world. So keep that to a minimum if you possibly can. So yes, after the 11th, Mercury goes direct and hold-ups will tend to diminish, because even though you know, in ordinary life, even though Mercury isn't retrograde, we tend to have hold-ups sometimes. But somehow or other, when Mercury is retrograde, we get out of sync with ourselves. It literally is, you know, not going backwards, but we've overtaken it and it seems to go backwards. So the two horses get out of step with each other, the Earth and Mercury. But then when Mercury goes around and we get back into the same pace with each other, then we just seem to feel like, oh, okay, things are going a bit more smoothly now. And that's from the 11th. Now, Venus and Mars are in a nice place. They are in your opposite sign, so affairs of the heart could be favored there. And you and somebody could be feeling a closer rapport, and a special someone could be coming into your life. And things do tend to flow quite easily, and there can be some mutual attraction going on, excuse me. But even if it's not in your personal life, if that's not what, you know, where you are in your timeline, then you can do business with somebody in a working context, in a business context. Mars is there as well, so that means that exchanges between you and another are likely to be very dynamic and maybe, you know, active, like you get out and about together and you're doing stuff together. Physical demands could be there, and just be careful that somebody doesn't run you ragged, because the Mars energy is coming to you through them. Be patient with them, because the Mars energy, which can be quite abrupt and a little bit pugnacious, can be coming at you through them. And also you might be pushed into doing something that you actually secretly don't really feel like doing. So hold your ground and stand your ground, I should say. And also don't just leap into things at full revs before you really are sure of your ground. But overall, cooperative interactions are very, very favored. Now, I have mentioned that there is this uncertain energy around, and this lack of I haven't got the information I need here. I haven't got this gut kind of feeling that I feel settled about this. So you just need to give it time, I guess. I mean, probably things are going to be going a bit more smoothly after the 11th anyway. But in some area of your life, you need to give something a little bit, you just need to give it a bit more time, because with Neptune so strong, and also in the second half of February as well, you might feel a bit disheartened, but that cause of that might not be borne out by the facts. It's just a feeling. And then your imagination takes off. Okay, so what I want to say about that is, don't make up your mind about how something's going to be until you get some clearer insight, until this transit is actually beginning to settle down, and then we get the fogs and mists and the smoke and the mirrors clearing, and we can see, and that really isn't going to be until the very, very end, actually. I'm going to say the beginning of March. So, and then, you know, you get it. But the thing to go for during this phase here, with whatever it is that you're uncertain about or indecisive about, is to go for the big T. And the big T is trust and truth. But you might just sense and feel the truth before you actually clearly know it and see it, and the evidence is there. By their fruits shall ye know them. And I don't usually go around the world quoting bits of the Bible, which I have never read, but I've sort of know chunks of it, and that's one of the chunks that just stuck in my mind. So have trust, trust yourself, trust your dreams. And don't be unrealistic, though. I mean, you know, because we often shoot ourselves in the foot by being unrealistic in what we are expecting of others or what we are expecting of ourselves. You know what the name of the game is, and say, okay, it's no more or less than this. You know, so take off those rose-tinted spectacles straight away. In fact, I would say that it would be in the time of the very, very end of January to the very end of February that you might be having an outbreak of rose-tinted spectacleitis, about somebody or something. You know, you're seeing what you want to see and not what there is actually there. Okay, so you see why I'm saying this is maybe not a time to make major commitments in whichever area this is kind of hitting you in your natal chart, because remember, this is just your sun sign chart. But the two do actually marry up, and the two do go together very well. And I've gone off on another huge tangent, so apologies for that. But you kind of get the message somewhere in amongst all of the words. And then Venus and Mars will move out of this opposite sign area, and where, you know, you and another can be very dynamic together. You can really be clicking and getting on, or a series of others, really it can be. But it's not likely to be a huge group all at the same time. But it's, you know, just a small couple of people, or maybe just one special person. It's usually about one special person. But then they move out of there, and they move into, Mars moves on the 20th and Venus moves on the 21st, into the next area, which actually is a much more sensitive area. But at the same time they've done that, just before they've done that, the sun's taken their place. So we still have this interplay, very, very strong emphasis on your opposite number, your partner, your close relationship. Whether it's a fleeting one, whether it's a working one, whether it's a very, very sort of sizzly personal one, and it's likely to get more sizzly, or at least, you know, passionate about something, whether it's, you know, physically, or whether it's a set of ideas, with somebody from the 21st. It's likely to be the first part of February up until the 21st. It's more likely to be kind of a mental rapport going on and bouncing ideas and really enjoying somebody's ideas and stuff. But the second half is kind of more up close and personal, or taking it more seriously if it's not physically close, right? So taking it more seriously in your feelings, right? So be careful again, because of this slightly, you know, hall of mirrors, kind of misty energy around, that you don't let your emotions get in the way of your feelings, because the two in my mind are separate. And sometimes the emotional reaction can really muddy the waters, where the actual intuitive, instinctive feeling is trying to sort of take a sounding, and the emotions keep getting in the way. And maybe the emotions are being stirred up by a misapprehension, you know, basing that on something which isn't true. And there is a lot of that, you know, whatever is going on for you, there is the likelihood that there could be a little bit of stress or a little bit of irritation or exasperation, because of just wondering about something and imagining, but it's actually not coming, it's not coming to light. But you feel maybe that you're anticipating it, but and it's very likely that once you've walked through that and come out the other side, that it'll be, you know, a lot less than you were imagining, or different at least to what you were imagining. Whether that is in a fearful sense, or whether that's, you know, all pie in the sky and oh, it's going to be wonderful and head in the clouds, or whatever it was, okay? Because there is this sort of, it's a bit like flying, you know, flying through clouds at night, maybe, and maybe the instruments aren't working very well. So you've got, or maybe your own sense of where you are in space isn't working very well, so you've got to rely on the instruments. So astrology is very good, actually, and I'm sorry, I'm chattering away here, but astrology is very good at giving you that instrument. So if you're flying blind, astrology is very good at giving you the instrument, and this is what the astrology is saying. So, and there's likely to be somebody that can help you out, well, emotionally, yes, because from the 21st, yeah, definitely, but also materially, you know, somebody picking up the tab for you, somebody being there with, you know, you getting yourself a bargain with something. Good time for negotiations, and it's a good time for a declutter, I have to say, as well, especially from the 20th when Mars goes in there, and that goes into March as well. And shifting the energies. So rearranging things in your space, decluttering, but also it can be like inwardly getting rid, you know, clearing the decks, tabula rasa, going forwards, and sensing, trusting yourself, trusting your values, trusting that inner sensing and knowing, and being a bit secretive, maybe a little bit secretive, but maybe taking some confidential advice, maybe from somebody who is also as sensitive and can see things that you are unable to see. Right, well, Saturn is challenging you to take responsibility for the rug, the dust swept under the rug from the past for many, many months. That's up until this June. So you will be tying up loose ends from the past, and some of the things will kind of be resistance there. There will be some resistance there to do with your past, to do with people from the past, to do with your family, to do with your family connections, and that can be extended family, like tribal connections as well. And you Virgos born the 25th to the 29th of August, or with 2 to 6 degrees rising, are going to feel that the most during this forecast period. Jupiter is in the signs before yours, also tying up loose ends from the past, also saying, okay, more sort of inner work, sorting it out, and kind of drawing a line at the bottom of the page of accounts before this new page is turned over, which will begin when Jupiter comes into your sign in this coming August. So, and that will be a major new cycle for you. So all things are connected, and no matter, you know, what you're dealing with, it will be helping us all if you kind of set to and say, okay, I'm going to finish this off now. This is where the buck stops. I'm not carrying those patterns forward with me anymore. It might be like that, or it might not. It might be that you get to doing things which are very in the background, which are good for you, which are healing and nurturing, which are imaginative, artistic, and it can be like that, or maybe you're just doing some therapy, you know. So you Virgos born the 6th to the 11th of September, or with 14 to 19 degrees rising, going to feel that energy the most this forecast period. And also you can be doing some sort of major work which is on the workbench, but it won't be ready really for the grand reveal until August, maybe, or August onwards. And also just a quick mention of Neptune. You know, be careful about the Neptune energy, especially these couple of months, because you don't want to end up the prop that everybody else is leaning on, or you don't want to be the prop and feel as though, you know, you're leaning on them, maybe under the guise of helping them, but actually without them you kind of lost. So just be careful about that. And as I've said before, separate the needy from the greedy. On the other hand, you're likely to cross paths with the sorts of people that you really do have a very deep bond with. I mean, that goes beyond time. And yes, and that's a very nice feeling indeed, especially when they know it too. When they don't, then, you know, you just got to keep it to yourself. But when they do, it's great. And, you know, then it's like an amazing rainbow in the sky. And you Virgos born the 29th to the 31st, or with 29th to the 31st of August, and 6 to 8 degrees rising are going to feel that energy the most. And that's it. If you know your rising sign and your moon sign, listen to those. That can be helpful. And also this is written up on my website. You can read it there, probably a little bit more than I've given you. And I'll see you the next time.